Welcome everyone to Talk Wrestling here on NoDQ.com. Thank you all for watching this week. We appreciate the patronage, if you will. A lot to talk about on the next show I'm going to do, which is called After the Bell, where we'll be on Friday, I believe, depending on when Aaron gets it up. But I'm going to talk about WWE TV Review. That's going to be After the Bell. It's going to be WWE TV Review. I gave Impact a chance. I really did. And besides the Hardy thing, which is the obvious elephant in the room, which is just ridiculous, I can't get through 2 hours of TNA wrestling every week. It's just not worth it to me anymore. It really isn't. For me, watching it's one thing. Sitting here and talking about it in front of all you guys is a completely different other thing. I can't waste my time and your time on a product that I can't get behind. WWE, I can talk about Raw, I can talk about Smackdown, talk about NXT, of course, and I can talk about the Cruiserweight Classic Tournament, which is on every Wednesday, of course, after NXT. So I'll be watching that this week and give you guys the review of everything that happened on WWE TV this week. So that's what we're doing with After the Bell. For now, let's go to Talk Wrestling. We have your questions right here on paper, if you will, in public, if you will, although I'm in private because I'm in my room. But yeah. Let's get to it. First series of questions come from Jishu Vijayan, and I apologize for the pronunciation there. His name is like that with a 56 on the end on Twitter. He asked 3 separate questions at different times over the last 7 days, but they all pretty much relate to the same thing, so I'll go ahead and address them all at the same time. First he asked for Coast to Coast, but we didn't get it until after Coast to Coast was already in the can, so I apologize for that. We didn't get to your question just new. But here it is. I would like you to address the Paul Heyman WWE contract situation. Will he resign or not? Then he goes on to ask, do you expect Brock Lesnar to show up for the build towards SummerSlam, or will he just show up directly at SummerSlam? Then he asks, how would WWE promote Viper vs. Beast when Brock Lesnar is at Raw, Randy Orton is at SmackDown Live? You bring up very good points, my friend. Let me just say that I feel that they're going to hopefully want to resolve the Paul Heyman contract dispute, because for all that Brock Lesnar is good at talking trash in the UFC, it's my personal opinion, this is my show, so of course it's my opinion, that he really doesn't have the gift of gab in sports entertainment as far as WWE is concerned. So for me, I would bring Paul in, get him signed to a new contract, and get him on TV as soon as humanly possible to get him to retort to Randy Orton's little dig at Battleground, and then his verbal diatribe since then on SmackDown Live. I don't think he said much about Brock on SmackDown Live, except on Miz TV. He said something briefly, but it was more directed at Miz than it was at Brock. So I think we need the oratory skills of Paul Heyman to counteract the venom of the Viper, so to speak. It's been made clear that Brock Lesnar will show up on Raw this coming Monday to promote SummerSlam, to promote the match with Randy Orton coming up in Brooklyn on August, I believe it's 21st. Don't quote me. Don't have my dates right in front of me. But I honestly believe that we will see Brock Lesnar more going towards SummerSlam. SummerSlam has been Lesnar's event. Yes, he defeated Undertaker at WrestleMania. Yes, he competed at WrestleMania many times over the last few years since he's been back, but SummerSlam has been his show. He defeated Triple H at SummerSlam. He defeated CM Punk at SummerSlam. He obliterated John Cena at SummerSlam. SummerSlam has been his party, and I think this year will be no exception. He may or may not win, but we'll get to that when Aaron and I do predictions for SummerSlam in the coming weeks. And how will they promote it with them being on separate shows? They have 2 shows to promote it. They'll have Brock Lesnar's take on Raw, and they'll have Randy Orton's take on SmackDown. It's very, very simple. If you have a guy on each show, you have both shows to promote this with. It's a great It's a great way to get the word out there about your marquee match. Because let's face it, whether it's for the WWE Universal, WWE World Championship or not, this is your marquee match this year. Brock Lesnar versus Randy Orton, the Beast versus the Viper, the Conqueror versus the Apex Predator. You've got two marquee names in WWE history who have only met once that I know of in history, and that was back when when they were both still young pups, to be honest with you. And Brock Lesnar handed Randy Orton his rookie ass at the time. So it'll be interesting to see how the dynamic over the last 14 years has developed between the two, and hopefully we'll get a decent match, if not match of the year, out of both of them. That'd be awesome to see. Next one comes from Daniel Allen 445 from Belfast, Northern Ireland, home of Finlay, as we know. Could WWE be building Nia Jax up to be the person to face Ronda Rousey or some other UFC woman in the future? I like that. I don't know if we will see a UFC woman in the WWE Squared Circle to start with. It depends if Ronda makes her come back to the Ultimate Fighting role or not, and if she does in fact avenge her loss to Holly Holm and then reclaim the championship from Nunes now, if she does in fact get the championship title shot. Ronda is still ranked number 3 in the world, behind, as far as contenders go, behind Misha and Holly, although Holly did lose on Saturday night, so that may have affected her standing. I have not checked UFC rankings since Fight Night on Fox, so I could be wrong. It has happened with UFC. It happens a lot with me in UFC. I'm still getting used to this shit, so I apologize. I'd like to see Ronda or Paige Van Zandt or somebody from the UFC compete in WWE ring besides Brock Lesnar, because Brock Lesnar is a WWE superstar, not a UFC name. He's a WWE name that happened to be in UFC for that one night. He's back at WWE for almost over 4 years now. I'd like to see personally a top contender or a top fighter from WWE to face Ronda Rousey or Paige Van Zandt or whoever. I'd like to see Charlotte or Sasha or Natty. Or now, if Nia Jax continues to breeze through her competition, and I don't mean just the jobbers that she was fed Monday night, I'm talking viable name competition on Raw, then she may end up being the one that goes to face Ronda Rousey when Ronda Rousey, if in fact she does cross over to the WWE Universe. I'd like to see her do that, and I'd like to see a good match between her and a WWE female superstar. Will it be Nia? I'd like to see it, but time will tell. This is from probably the most different name and Twitter name I have on here. Or there's a few actually, but Kyle Allen is the guy's name, but his Twitter name is @JohnBravestar. He asked 2 different questions. If Undertaker was healthy for WrestleMania 10, could you see him going against Bam Bam Bigelow? And if he was healthy for WrestleMania 16, could maybe wrestle Stone Cold Steve Austin? Well, let me ask the second question first, because WrestleMania 16 was WrestleMania 2000. I was there live for that. It was in Anaheim, California, and neither one of them, Austin nor Undertaker, were healthy for that. Both were at Access that year. Both made appearances at the autograph table at Access. Both made a huge stir at the autograph table, as a matter of fact. But neither of them competed or even appeared on the card that night at the Arrowhead Pond, now, of course, the Honda Center. So that match wouldn't have happened either way, because both of them were hurt. As far as WrestleMania 10 against Bam Bam, I believe Bam Bam's match at that show was he and Luna Vachon, may they both rest in peace, against Doink, who also has now passed away, at least the original Doink did, Matt Bourne, and Dink in a mixed tag team match, if you will. I would have rather have seen Undertaker and Bam Bam Bigelow. Undertaker was fighting all the big men at the time. He was the giant conqueror, if you will. But they had a good storyline with him that year, and the fact that he had been entombed, if you will, in Yokozuna's casket, or his own casket that he made for Yokozuna, and then floated off into the heavens and disappeared until SummerSlam. I thought the Undertaker storyline in 1994 was probably the most well-written one of the year. And I think that had he been healthy for WrestleMania 10, that wouldn't have happened. It would have been a big disappointment because, yes, he would have had a great match, probably against Bam Bam or another giant type figure. But he needed time off. They wrote him off the right way. It came off very well, and it was very, very well produced. So bravo WWE for making lemonade out of lemons in that respect. This is from Pinello14. Why would Stephanie give Roman Reigns a chance at the new championship if she felt like he screwed up everything at Battleground? I think it's been made very clear over the last 2 weeks now that Mick Foley is the one that drafted Roman Reigns to Monday Night Raw. Mick Foley, the general manager of Monday Night Raw, is the one that got in the Commissioner Stephanie's ear and convinced her that, regardless of her personal feelings toward Roman, that he would be the right guy to be on Raw and compete with the likes of Seth Rollins and Finn Balor and Cesaro and guys like that. We did see a very interesting little twinge at the end of Monday Night Raw, and I'll talk about that on After the Bell. The fact that Roman was very begrudgingly congratulatory toward Finn Balor and hoped that he defeated Seth Rollins to become Universal Champion at SummerSlam, that he'd get the first shot. So we will see how that develops. I'd like to see that personally. We saw the match on Raw, and I'll talk about it after the bell. It was a good match, and I thought Roman's build over the course of the night was very well done as well. For me, though, I want to see them flip the switch and just turn the evil Roman loose and let him just dominate. Wouldn't that be something if this new beard and this new attitude he's had since he came back at Battleground? You notice he was he was far less talkative the last 3 televised appearances. Just saying. So it'll be interesting to see. Or 2, excuse me, Battleground and then Raw. So it'll be interesting if less is more with Roman Reigns. This is from Raid at Braden Real 18. What do you think about my team getting Brassard? Hopefully, still have the Kings. Yeah, I like that Brassard went there. I'm glad that they picked him up. I would have liked Brassard for the Kings personally. For those of you who don't know hockey, I'm talking about the National Hockey League. But you know what? I am seriously, if I can do the right point here. There we go. There it is. I am counting down until October because I will be in Las Vegas at the new T-Mobile Arena, or whatever they call it, up there in sunny, and I mean sunny as right now, Las Vegas, Nevada, for 2 nights of LA Kings hockey, and then coming back home to Staples Center for the regular season. I miss hockey. I'm glad that WWE is doing this draft and doing this brand extension and doing this whole new era again, if you will. New era, I guess. Renewed era, as they're calling it, or Aaron Riff is calling it. But I'm glad that hockey is not too far around the bend, because I do miss hockey very much. Next one comes from Finna Chains at McCains or McChains. I don't know how to say that. Help me out there, buddy. What do you think they're going to do with the women's wrestlers on SmackDown Live? I pray to God it's not going to be a resurrection of the Butterfly, the Divas Championship, but I have a really bad feeling that's where they're going to go with it. I have a horrible feeling they're going to actually do that. I don't want them to do that, but I think they're going to do that. If it was me, what I would do is just have not Universal, because they use that for the Raw Championship, but have a multi-brand one women's champion that is available to both shows, like the draft was supposed to do back in 2002, with one undisputed WWE champion, one undisputed women's champion, and one at the time undisputed tag team champions. Didn't work out that way. Obviously, we had 2 world championships, eventually 2 women's championships once SmackDown created the new Butterfly back in 2008, I believe it was. Yikes. This one is from Alistair Keffer Hi, Jeff. Do you think WWE could have done more with Monty Brown in ECW or the other brands during his time in WWE? Yes. Monty Brown, Marcus Corvan, whatever you want to call him. We remember Monty Brown in TNA, of course, but Marcus Corvan in the ECW brand of WWE was grossly underutilized. Could have done so much more, could have been so much more, but they never really did anything with him after the ECW Originals versus New Breed feud, did they? I don't remember him doing a whole lot after that. He wasn't in. I don't think he was even part of the company by the time the Elimination Chamber rolled around in December. I think he was back with TNA. As a matter of fact, I remember him going back to TNA as Monty Brown briefly. So, you even know what he's doing these days? I have no idea what he's up to. So, let me know if you know. And our final question today comes from Gingy Tons of Fun, our buddy who sent in the question last time. Great name. At McFarlane J. How do you book this new feud with Ziggler and Ambrose to capture interest in time for SummerSlam? Two distinct styles of wrestling. One, the more hardcore, extreme style, the legendary brawler of Dean Ambrose, and the technical wizard, if you will, no offense, Joey Ryan, of Dolph Ziggler. Those two styles meshing and coming together over one global world championship prize at the biggest event of the summer. That's how you book that. The two distinct styles clashing head on to compete for WWE's ultimate prize as far as Smackdown is concerned. That's what I would do. Thank you all for watching. We will see you next time. I believe it's going to be either Friday or Saturday with WWE TV review on No DQ's new exclusive property, After the Bell. And I'll see you next week right here with more Talk Wrestling.